Next, a fascinating panel on investing in early-stage ecosystems, moderated by Justin Barlow, investor at Solana Ventures. Justin, feel free. Yeah. Our panelists will discuss the good, the bad, and the fab that comes from teaming up with startups as they embark on an entrepreneurial roller coaster. Please join me in welcoming Afek, co-founder and CEO at Spacemesh. You guys can, yeah. Shauli Rejwan, managing partner and co-founder at Masterkey VC. Adam Shinder, biz dev lead Israel at BNB Chain. And Gaia de Ponti, business development at GSR.
Hey guys, my name is Justin Barlow. Today we're going to have a super interesting panel on investing in early stage ecosystems. But first, let me give a brief intro on myself. I am an investor at Solana Ventures, a venture firm dedicated towards investing in early stage projects in the Solana ecosystem. Today I've got a great host of panelists with me, and let's start with going around with name, the company you're representing, and a little bit about what your company does.
I'm Afek. I'm the founder and CEO of Spacemesh. Stick around 11, I will tell you all about it. And yeah, when I was 12, I was the best surfer in Israel for kids.
Welcome, Tomer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Shauli Rejwan. I'm managing partner of Masterkey VC, an Israeli-based global scouts. Investing in all stages, mainly early stage. Also have a foundry arm. Looking forward.
Hey everyone, I'm Adam Shinder. Hey Shauli, thank you guys for having me. I'm business development lead for BNB Chain for Israel, focusing mainly on DeFi and a bunch of verticals, whether it be infrastructure, Web 2.5, SocialFi, GameFi, really looking at a ton of different projects to help them scale and grow on BNB Chain, and really have a good overview of how the ecosystem grows and how it continuously grows. So really excited to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Gaia. I'm on the BD team at GSR. GSR is one of the larger market makers in the space. We have been around for about 10 years and we work with projects at various stages of their life cycle. We also help on the VC side a little bit, which is going to be part of the discussion today, and look forward to talking about that and trading.
Awesome. Thank you guys for the intros. Let's dive right into it. So, investing in early stage ecosystems, obviously one of the most important things is being able to identify trends, right? What are some of the methods or tools that you guys use as individuals and as firms to identify new trends in an ever-changing market like Web3?
Well, I listen. So when people come and present, they typically explain their rationale and why they find it exciting. And I find that my own beliefs and impressions a priori to the meeting are distractful. So I try to shut them down and listen as hard as I can and find some essence that I either relate to or not. But this is the first thing, is really listening hard.
I think in our case it's a bit different. So I personally don't believe in just hypes. I believe that we need to invest in things that really have a need. So once you're going to build things that have a real need, you build it, they will come. So we're in Masterkey basically investing in deep technologies, deep cryptography solutions, and things that we know that it will take another year or 2 more years, but in the end of the day they will bloom, they will be big. We're not. That's why one of the reasons we're not doing things like gaming, and we just don't understand that industry. But we do understand what are things that are needed.
So on the ecosystem level, I'm always looking to see what the next trends are to help move BNB Chain forward. So one of the ways that I personally go about that is really looking on Twitter, honestly. I'm on Twitter a lot, reading DeFi threads, personal focus on DeFi. It's something I'm personally interested in. So always looking at those trends, seeing what the next DEXs is, what the next mechanics are, what's going to be the next trend. I think it's super important. On the SocialFi level, on the GameFi level, I think the trends are very similar, and you just look at what project is going to be hype. On the organizational level, there's a lot of different research teams and a lot of different analytics teams that are looking to provide the most valuable feedback and information for us as BDs, growth, and as team members to see what those trends are. So we're looking at TVL, on-chain metrics. Really, we're looking at only on-chain metrics, and TVL, DAU being the main ones really seeing that traction. And we're looking at kind of what's growing in a somewhat short period of time, and how will that progress. It's incredibly important for any ecosystem as you're building an ecosystem and or investing in an ecosystem to look at what the next trends are going to be, and then try as a BD to encourage them to join the ecosystem and support them in building to make sure that you're up with the trends and you're building new trends as well.
Yeah, so I'd probably echo a lot of those things. I think Twitter is one of them. Partnerships is another. I mean, there are plenty of very resourceful people in the space, and I think being able to leverage those relationships to ask for people who are experts in their fields about that, and we also do that internally. So asking for people who have a particular expertise, what their views are on that. For example, in our case, obviously trading is our expertise. So when we're speaking to new projects in the DeFi space, we lean on our traders and our DeFi engineers to tell us, is this a bunch of buzzwords or is this something that's really a game changer for us? So I think, really being able to do that, and to your point, Shauli, to say, what problem are you really solving? That's how we really get a feel for what's going to be the next trend.
Awesome. Piggybacking off that last question, I'd love to hear from you guys. What are a few of the trends that you are most excited about? And what are some of the trends that you are least excited about right now in Web3?
Yeah. I am excited about Web3 in general. I think if Web3 is this stable, it's going to be this whole auditorium in not a lot of time. And what excites me personally is basically reducing suffering and taking care of people who did not have adequate opportunities to show their passions and talents. So anything that would diminish this atmosphere effect that our current economy have, whereby once you're out of the atmosphere, it's all clouds and flying, but makes the atmosphere just a little bit harder for everybody else. So that is the type of problem that I believe crypto can provide really nice solutions for. So, and what am I less excited? I'm less excited about gambling on DeFi, risky speculative assets. I think we've had our share of that, and now it's time to kind of build more and speculate less. Thanks.
Yeah, that's hard. That's strong. Yeah, so I'm really excited about many trends in the industry. Like we see the crypto expansion, like it's happening in front of our eyes now these days. Like you'd have just speaking about MPC, just like a few years ago, no one understood what is it, and today, like all custodians are running on it, and it's like amazing to see that, to see ZK and like DeFi that's growing, and so many other things that are like just blowing my mind to see how just a few years ago cryptography was like something you can't do anything without, just like maybe PDFs, and now like full operating systems and things that are actually feasible and being able to create new values. So that's super exciting. The things that I less excited, I don't like Pepe. I don't like these meme coin shit. Like, have to say that. That's just makes me feel that, some like people are like betting or gambling in our industry and making us, so people are like working hard as fools because, people are making 5,000x in 5 days and we're like working our asses and making 10x, 50x. Yeah, so that's me.
To jump on the two ideas of kind of DeFi and infrastructure we're speaking about, actually it's perfect. So DeFi would be my highlight and infrastructure would potentially be my low light. I think there's only so many problems to solve within Web3, more macro, and a lot of the infrastructure is solving the same problems. And obviously infrastructure is incredibly important and we're looking for a 5-year timeline, so startups need to ensure they have that runway for when that adoption comes. But I see a lot of infrastructure and in comparison to the amount of infrastructure out there, I don't know how many users, and we need way more. On the DeFi side, actually, talking on the speculative or the high quality projects, something like real world assets coming into DeFi and providing real yield is something really attractive and really exciting, which is in some ways ironic because the real yield is government-backed fiat, but it is really exciting to see that. And also you see the ethos of Web3 and what Tomer was speaking on of in V33 dexes and distributing the fees from the transactions in the form of bribes, which is really exciting also because you're minimizing the spread on the profit that the exchange is making, which is kind of the ethos of getting power back to the user. And it's competitive in that sense. You can look at something like CowSwap that used to be doing it and still continues to do it. So those innovations on DeFi are really exciting, and somewhat of a low light I think would be too much infrastructure, but there definitely is a need for it.
Yeah, so I think there's probably lots to be excited about. I think in this market where things are a bit quieter, what's exciting is people that are building in something that bridges the existing world that we're in and what we're doing in Web3 and takes things away from being abstract. So I think that can happen in lots of different spheres. Real world assets is one, ticketing is another, the list is very long. But I think people who understand how do we get the average person interacting with some of these technologies and really getting a feel for it. And then, yeah, so I think more things to be excited about than not to be excited about. Probably better to focus on the positive.
Yeah, this really resonates with me. I think starting a company in the winter of crypto is a great idea. And coming in the summer when everybody's like psyched out of their mind is a less of a good idea. I think you'd find in the winter attention and, careful thinking that you potentially won't find when everybody's hyped.
Great. We've touched a bit about on how to identify trends. Once you've identified a trend, the next step is obviously going out and building something. We've got a good mix here on the panel of builders and investors. I'd love to hear from each of you. If you are a builder, what are some of the ways that VCs or your early investors have best supported you? And on the flip side, for the investors on the panel, I'd love to hear some of the ways that you like to work with the teams that you invest in, and some of the ways that you've helped to kind of increase their chances of success.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the relationship between the entrepreneurs and the investors in the traditional industry were, let's say, adversarial in some sense. There was a relationship between the board members and the company, which was a balance of power of some sorts. I don't find this approach productive. I find that if the investor is providing a value-add service, something that entrepreneurs really need and want, and the relationship is more, give and take on that front, and you really have a chance to have the entrepreneur tell you what their sincere problems are, and not sell you on something like, I have no problems, life is amazing. And then, paradoxically, that will increase your chances to succeed with that startup. And my bottom line is that relationship with the entrepreneur and getting to know the person that you are investing in, his brain OS, how does he, operate upon surprise. This is key for the entrepreneurs. As I mentioned before, please find something that you're passionate about, something that you find beautiful outside of your, say, self-preference system, and go get it with vigor and with, passion, and don't stop until you get there, and the investors will recognize the determination. So, thanks.
I think in our case, it's pretty simple. So we're a different fund. Like, we're a crypto fund, and we're structured different from any other probably funds. Like, unlike others, we have a pretty wide stack of technologies in-house, and like wide cryptographer advisors, one cryptographer in-house, and DevOps, and backend developer, and people are like really working in the community. And myself, I'm co-founder of like few communities here in Israel, and pretty active. So we're all in the industry, we're all working with. But Tomer, I have to circle back another question for you. You're about to do Genesis. Doing Genesis in crypto winter. How is it?
Well, I've never been more excited in my life because I've never worked on something for 5 years before the first encounter of that thing was something like not me, public, but I like crypto in the winter. This is my favorite period of crypto. Deeper thinking and less distraction. So I find that doing Genesis in the winter allows the OGs to really get some stake, and then when the market come and all the tourists come, and then the positions of the OGs are already established, and that's healthy for the, say, culture that the founding people on the community are people who truly care about, let's say, the flourishing of all life in perpetuity.
So also on the builder side, for seeing a lot of projects and working with a lot of projects, something that really surprises me all the time is how lean some of these teams are. So you'll see these massive protocols, and you say, how big's your team? 10, 15, I've heard 5 of these large protocols doing 100 millions in TVL. So I think something super important, and it's something that always impresses me, and I know impresses investors, is when a team that's so lean is able to deliver, and there's a core team, and they'll grow and build out from there. So on the building side, and especially in the crypto winter, I'm super impressed and continually am impressed by these small teams that just deliver. They bring incredible products and they solve real problems. Very often, that I think those problems that they're solving are in DeFi, and they're doing a solid job of solving them, at least for the innovations we have now, and maybe there'll be more in the future. But the team is innovating and they're growing in the way that they're thinking. They're growing the protocol. So on the lean side, it's super important. Something else that I'm seeing is when speaking with a lot of investors, the main mode of support that projects will need, obviously, it will be the crux of it is fundraising, right, which leads to everything else. And I see in some sectors it drying up, but it's also being really, there's still money out there in infrastructure, and I see it in DeFi, and it's a growing sector. So builders, I'd keep building and keep growing and be lean. That's really the main thoughts.
Well said.
So for us, given that we're not a traditional VC and most of the investing that we do is off balance sheet as a result of our main trading business, what we try to help with on the investing side is really leaning on our expertise to help projects as they come to market. So a big thing that projects deal with is there's a lot of unknowns about when you're coming to market. What is the timing like? Which venues should I list on? Who should I be speaking with? Which partners are relevant for my launch? And I think sometimes that's a little bit hard to navigate. There is more and more information that's out there publicly now, but I think a lot of it is still knowledge-based, and so we really try to leverage the experience that we've had seeing hundreds of projects come to market over the past 10 years to maximize the chances that they'll be successful in that sense. And then, as you said, I think fundraising is huge, especially in this market where it's really difficult to raise. I think we're trying to be as useful as we can, connecting the projects that we speak with and that we're excited about with various different investors in the space.
Awesome, and yeah, I'll echo the same things. Definitely one of the biggest things that we like to help with at Solana Ventures is obviously fundraising. Not only potentially investing ourselves, but also really creating intros to other investors, relevant people within their ecosystem, et cetera. And on top of that, I would say we like to help a lot with things like tokenomics, product strategy, go-to-market strategy, all these things that you kind of need in the early stages, right? And it's one of those things where, if you've seen it 1,000 times, it's certainly easier to do. But for many first-time founders, these are things that are, very complicated, right? And so we like to be, an aid to these founders in that way as well, besides just contributing, dollars, right? Moving forward, I have more of a philosophical question for you guys. Competition versus collaboration in the context of Web3. Curious how you guys think about this. I'll preface this by saying, for me personally, I very much think that we are in a collaboration stage in crypto. If you look at the penetration of crypto on the global scale, we are less than 1% in terms of global penetration, right? We maybe have 10 or 20 million, active crypto users, where we have billions of active Web 2 users, right? And so in my mind, each additional person we can add to the crypto ecosystem as a whole is a net benefit for each of us on stage here, whether they're joining originally the Binance ecosystem or the Solana ecosystem or EVM, et cetera, right? Because ultimately, the switching cost between something like Binance and Solana is much lower than the switching cost between Web 2 and Web 3. Curious if you guys have any comments on that, how you guys think about that, if you disagree, agree, et cetera.
Yeah, I think one of the worst things in our modern world is intelligence unbounded by wisdom. And this is basically, I have a narrow set of goals and I'm optimizing for that narrow set of goals, and whatever is outside of that frame doesn't exist. So basically, you create maximum externalities, you create maximum, vibrations of unhealth in the market, but you get your goal, right? So that's a thing that decentralized systems can prevent. They can solve those perverse incentives whereby, say, nature works more than alive or anything weird like that. And what you are referring to with respect to non-zero sum and collaborative dynamics as opposed to, say, competitive dynamics, those things are tricky, right? When they're spiraling down, if he don't do it, if I don't do it, he will do it, and he's bad, so I gotta do it, So those things, they spiral down, and there is a way using incentive to flip them on their head and to redirect the general kind of motion to a spiraling up as opposed to spiraling down dynamics, and that's huge, and that's one of the things ultimately that will allow crypto to win, because as a child, you can see I can work 14 hours a day or I can work 4 hours a day, and as prosperous, I'm choosing 4. So it's not about getting more, it's about getting the same with less.
I think that's a really interesting question. So we're really believing like collaboration. I feel like someone who's trying to be centralized or like not to play fair or like collaborate with others in decentralized environment, it just like don't understand the essence of our space. And it's also something that I'm witnessing for like people who are like more crypto native or the ones who've been in the space for a long time compared to the ones who are just joining in. So we all understand that Web 2 is centralized, right? And that's like how the way people are like treating each other. They're all competing, and like in Web 3, it's more about the collaboration, and there is a big reason for that. Like we're talking about an industry that is about 13, 14 years old, and the market value is $5 trillion. So the growth of it could never reach if it was just like few people just fighting with each other of like who's gonna control it. But because we're all collaborating, or like the majority is collaborating, that's why we see this huge growth, and we will continue to see this huge growth. And the ones who will collaborate will be part of the party, and the one who will try to block the others will find themselves alone in the dark.
Thank you. For sure, true. I mean, the future of the whole ecosystem is in the hands of the builders, and when builders are building on top of a network, they need to be able to be compatible with Solana and Arbitrum and ETH and Polygon and BNB, obviously, right? I'm speaking more outside the ecosystem. So the builders need to be able to access as many users as possible, as much liquidity as possible. We see this whole omni-chain approach coming in, but as BNB, we really support the whole Web3 ecosystem, and we want to see it grow. And it's not a zero-sum game like Tomer was saying, and we're looking to help builders build and grow Web3, and the more macro vision of bringing Web3 to over 1 billion plus users is really the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I think a healthy combination of both is very important. I mean, collaboration is clearly the thing that's brought the industry where it is, and it's clearly the thing that's going to bring it next. It's also, I think, one of the things that leads to lack of multiple teams doing the same thing that's equal. And so from an investor's perspective, you don't want to be investing in 10 different teams that are doing the exact same thing. That being said, competition, I think, sometimes has a little bit of a dirty association, but is actually super important for the development of a healthy market. I mean, in trading is a perfect example of that. I think we need to have competitors in the market that are competing with us in order books. That's how you get liquidity. And if there are people that are doing some things better than us, it pushes us to be better. And I think that's true of all teams across the industry. So I think you need to be, thoughtful about being both. And definitely, Shauli, to your point, the elbows type competition is not good. But I think healthy competition is very important for good development of an ecosystem.
Thanks for that, Gaia.
Can I push back just a second? I think that there is something like the history. Okay, we're not entering a vacuum. We're entering 300 years of juvenile, over-competitive business climate, right? So that's the low-hanging fruits are not do the same or something. They're coming from the other side and they are restraining what has no inner restrainment. So in a vacuum, you are absolutely correct. Something got to create the motion. So if you want to work in group, then let's make a group competition as opposed to individual competition. I think the main point to hammer down here is that there's something called paperclip maximizer. Whoever is interested should check it out. People that are chasing some particular goal are blind to changes that are outside of them, and they are unable to not see themselves as the entire world and see their basically goals as the goals of humanity. And something like someone needs to come from the behind and tell them, yo, what you're chasing is no longer what is needed. Please pay attention. And that is achievable for the first time with crypto. So I insist on my opinion that competition needs to go down dramatically. And also, like the attitude of the 22-year-old male, which is so common to business right now, right? Which is like, yeah, look at me, I'm so that. Fuck that shit.
All right, guys. Thanks for that, Dilber. All right, well, to round this out, I'd love to hear 2 or 3 specific things you guys are excited about in the second half of 2023, either within your specific ecosystems, from your project specifically, or from your portfolio.
Sure, happy to. So I think now that a lot of the bad news has been taken, the rabbits out of the hat, I think what we're really excited about is teams that finally have the time to breathe and to bring some of the things that we've been talking with them about for months now to market, finally see some of those things develop and come to market. So I think not dealing with banking crises, exchanges blowing up, and finally starting to see that the brain space, the lack of those events allows, gives rise to some of these teams really shipping their products. So really excited for that wave in the second half of this year.
Nice. Something I think is really exciting on the B2B side, and really something I'm proud about our ecosystem, what we're building. We're constantly innovating, so there's really some interesting things that are coming out. So ZK BNB and L2 on top of BNB chain is being built now. It's out there, the test that people are building, which is really exciting. There's BNB chain Greenfield using the BNB native token for a decentralized storage network where you can trade and buy and sell pieces of data, which is really exciting as well. So those 2 networks we're building and innovating on. So if anybody wants to build on those, let me know. We're looking, and people are building. So really, looking towards the future, we're really excited about those 2 and new innovations within our ecosystem as well.
When I'm looking at the near future, I'm actually putting aside crypto. I'm not that excited. And I will tell you that basically what we're seeing, it's markets are shaking, things are it's horrible. I some people are really happy to see all these unicorns die. No, I don't happy to see it. It's horrible. People are going to lose their jobs. We are facing an edge of seems like a really tough times, and I'm not excited from that. I do excited to see crypto still growing, and no matter what happened, no matter how hard the waves are, or crypto is unbelievable resilient. We're witnessing more and more innovation. Researchers are entering in the space. ZK is just becoming just to see the new apps of the infrastructure communication, because majority of people will never understand blockchain, they will never understand ZK, they don't need to. But just the fact that you can communicate and collaborate in a way that it's decentralized and keep your privacy and keep all of your data and information in a way that so far we had to give everything to the big boss, right? And now we can keep it for ourselves. So that's exciting. On the other side, the economy going down.
I'm excited about intelligence, and more specifically distributed intelligence and governance and distributed governance, and the way that, once we're unfucking ourselves from the flat world where money and truth are being explored separately, we can go back to something like put your money where your mouth is, and the collective truth will improve. I think that's important for the way we can do better as humans. And I'm really excited about everything DAO, everything governance, and everything, social innovation that might come as a result.
Awesome. For me personally, in the Solana ecosystem, there are a ton of things I'm excited about. Two of them, though, that stand out on the technical side are the proliferation of compressed NFTs. For those in the audience that don't know, compressed NFTs use Merkle trees to exponentially reduce the cost of minting NFTs on Solana, and actually allows you to mint something like 1 million NFTs for $100 US. And so this is going to have sort of wide-ranging impacts from social networks to gaming to all types of media, et cetera. And I'm super excited to see more of these projects roll out. Compressed NFTs actually went live roughly a month ago, and we're just starting to see builders building interesting projects using compressed NFTs. One other thing that I am very excited about is Jump Firedancer. Jump Firedancer is an independent validator client for the Solana network that will have a wide range of impacts from increasing throughput to reducing downtime and ultimately improving performance on Solana. And so I'm super excited to see that. Before I wind this up, I do want to let everyone know that we have an event coming up hosted by the Solana Foundation here in Tel Aviv. This will be taking place in the end of June. If you're interested in attending, it is completely free. It will be a great opportunity to learn more about the Solana ecosystem, interact with others in the ecosystem, as well as just have a place for free food and drinks and some high-speed Wi-Fi. If you're interested in attending, I would say go to solana.com/events. Again, solana.com/events to find the information. We also have a booth set up outside where you can scan a QR code and sign up right there. With that, I want to thank you guys for an awesome panel. And appreciate all of you guys coming out, and appreciate you guys for listening in.